We're a little bit behind, so I'll skip a few slides. This is about the Dutch national formulary called Kinderformularium. One of the strengths is that it's available in the Netherlands for free, but also outside the Netherlands for free everywhere. It's a non-commercial product. The only weakness is that the information is in Dutch. So how many of you can read Flemish or Dutch in the room? Oh, enough important people. So I'll just give you a brief overview of things that went on in the Netherlands and how it happened. I've got no conflict of interest to declare. So it all started in 2000 with a very short, brief publication in the New England Journal of Medicine written by Geert de Jong. Geert, can you put your hand up? And he is here in the room. And that upset a lot of people in the Netherlands because Geert showed from a survey across European hospitals that if you're a patient in the neonatal intensive care, the chances that you're getting unapproved or off-label medicines are between 70 and 80%. If you're in the pediatric intensive care, it's about the same. Surgical intensive care and medium care, it's all over 50%. And so the Dutch pediatricians asked the Dutch government, what are you going to do about all this off-label and unlicensed drugs? And we waited for 5 months, and then we got a letter, 1 page, that said the prescriber is responsible for everything that happens to the patients when you're using off-label and unlicensed medicine. So the Dutch said, we wanted to know what the correct dose is, but it's clearly not enough, the correct dose. And we went around and looked and found in the Netherlands 28 different booklets. So it's the smallest country in Europe, 60 million people though, 28 different booklets. And this was actually from my own booklet, which I had in my white coat, because we used to sort of hand copy from our mentor, what the dosage is for PrEP infusion, etc. And went on. And then later on the computers, started, and we made all this. And then some local hospitals in Amsterdam and in Utrecht had their local formulary, and we checked doses for the 25 most commonly prescribed drugs, and guess what, 80% had a different regimen, different dose, starting dose, different duration, interval, etc. So, and then there were some other sources, and then we came together. This was before BNF, and certainly before BNFC. So we took the Utrecht formulary. We checked all drugs for the licensing status for children because we felt a little bit unhappy with, sort of a threat that we are responsible. We were not sure what actually to do. And if it was licensed, then we adopted the information of the licensing, market authorization, unless we had evidence that the practice deviated from the use. And for all the drugs, we prioritized for review to go all the way, to do the search, the evidence synthesis, the consensus, the whole thing. And then we started with the drugs most frequently used. So you can start at the top and go all the way down. So we started with a national network, 1 pediatrician and 1 pharmacist and pharmacologist per pediatric hospital, and we had 8 in the Netherlands. So you have 16 here in Canada, 8. So they all came to these bi-monthly meetings, buy in and use all their expertise, and we sat at the table. We managed to find 1 full-time pharmacist and 1 full-time coordinator to pool the whole process and all the information together, a 0.2 FTE director and a 0.6 FTE ICT developer from the beginning. And it was launched after 2 years of deliberations in 2008, with a simple, at the time, internet version 1.0. The information is there, and this is what it looked like. This year, almost 10 years into the game, version 2 has been launched. A very nice interactive platform that you can download on your handheld, on your iPad. It works everywhere. It's just kinderformularium.nl. And I'm going to walk you briefly through what the monographs offer. General information about the drugs, dosing recommendations, dosing in impaired renal function. I'll speak to that in a sec. What are similar drugs? What are the adverse effects? Contraindications, warnings, drug-to-drug interactions, and changes to the monograph, and the references are all down here. So in one view, you can click on whatever you need. Here the doses are. Yes, we said we're not giving doses, only giving indication. So this is amiodarone. It's just a coincidence that I'm looking at the same drug date, I guess. It says serious therapy-resistant rhythm problems, right? And then it gives you the order for 1 month to 80-year-old kids, and then it goes all the way down. If you open it, the licensing status is on top there. It's off-label because we felt, you have to be informed. But then the evidence status comes after that. So off-label, is it also off-evidence? What are the available formulation strengths? How does it work? So it's a little bit about, what we know about it. Very briefly, pharmacokinetic information in kids. Drug interaction, relevant and not so relevant. So some judgment calls are made there. Complete list of references. This was interesting. Recently, the Dutch Kidney Foundation grant saw this, and he came on board. He said, what about our patients, our kidney failure children? Can we give you a grant, and then you can add the information how to dose in renal failure, which obviously is very important because, the kidney is one of the main organs to excrete drugs. And so the grant was happily received, and now we are working on, I think, all 650 drugs now have an item in the monograph about kidney function problems in kids over 3 months. And then, it gives you adjustment or no adjustments depending on the GFR and so forth. Then somebody in the MRC in the Netherlands, in The Hague, said, what about a good calculator so that people can sort of recalculate and there's some safety in there. So to enter your date of birth of your child and the weight or age, step 1, you can calculate it and then select an indication, the route of administration, the dosing frequency, etc. And then, what dose, when there's a range, you can click it there. Summary of selected parameters. It summarizes to me, what am I talking about? This is my patient, and then it gives you the dosing advised. Individual, you calculate the dose. So we could spend more on that later in an interactive session because again, we can play with it. The latest newest feature was a comparison of drugs. So omeprazole, and then you can click on compare. So somewhere it's here. Similar drugs, and then it compares like this. And you can go through the whole monograph and compare, vertically, what are the similarities and differences between these two drugs. Then other groups came on board. It's a sort of an information translation to parents and to patients. We got another little grant from the MRC, and now we all the information that we generated over the years is now part of www.apotheek, which is pharmacy.nl, where all the information is there. So again, we're linking the information with other platforms to make it more useful. I'm not going into the content management system like you did, Dave, but again, same thing was developed completely in isolation from BNF and your thing, but track changes so we know exactly what's going on, when it was changed, why, etc. So there's these, bi-monthly meetings of the network and the coordinator and the pharmacist, they really put it on the next day, so it's the most recent information. So is it popular? Well, first, we used Google Analytics, and we saw that there are 4,000 visits a day, and this is the weekend. So this is a week, and then the weekend. So just be careful if you're in a hospital in the weekend, with your children and yourself as well. So we have all the statistics there. The workflow, again, behind the scenes is all organized, so there's no paperwork anymore. It's just a screen, say, we're almost done, and we've just started to do stuff, etc., all the tasks. So the next steps, completely in isolation. Now we're going to focus on neonates and a special focus on prematurity. So extra time and resources are put into, serving that subpopulation a little bit better. Again, going through all the steps of, asking the question, finding the evidence, synthesizing it, discussing it at the round table, and then, do the best you can. We don't have yet a sort of a formal system of levels of evidence for drugs, like we have a full systematic review with all kinds of dosing and multi-center trials versus, we only have one PK study from London, Ontario. That kind of stuff, we're not there yet, but we might discuss that. That could be an international project, actually. Yes, the next steps are to work with all the people that are very strong in the Netherlands, actually, the National Pharmacovigilance Agency, LAREP in the Netherlands, to send each other information about, what they get with side effects and things that we should maybe put in our Kinderformularium, and vice versa, what we find from the literature. And actually the reporting can go to the national agency, can go to Kinderformularium. And then, there's new portals integration. So very important, what we decided to do is that we get all the stakeholders aligned. And it's the society is maybe not so strong, the pediatric society, the pharmacy society is a little bit stronger, hospital pharmacists is a little bit stronger, GPs who prescribe, 60–70% of all the drugs to kids in the Netherlands, on board from beginning. I mentioned vigilance. The regulator is on board as well. They help us, with the label and licensing status, and even insurance companies are coming on board now. So what does it cost to do this? Over 10 years, we were funded with almost 2 million euros, which is not recognized by CIHR actually, because it wasn't CIHR money, but we got it, which means like 200K per year on average. And it was not there, as a contract like for Dave in 10 years. No, we built it up. We kept knocking on doors. So we started with a smaller grant and then another one. And as I said, more co-financiers came on board over time to help us make the whole thing sustainable. Is there an impact? Well, it's officially endorsed by all the learned societies in the Netherlands. There's only one book now. It's not a book, it's a website. Throw away all your little books, etc. It's Kinderformularium only in the Netherlands. And it's really very interesting that the new generation, just adopts this like they adopt all kinds of stuff that, we couldn't imagine when we were training. So we actually, here it says 1 million visitors each year to the website. 6,500, that's a new statistics. So half them pediatricians, or a third, and a third pharmacists, hospital pharmacists, and 23% general practitioners, nurses, and all kinds of other people. So we keep doing an annual survey on who is using the information. Yes, so we think the impact is that we now have sort of a harmonized drug therapy. We know what the evidence is for what we have, and we know where the gaps are. We're starting to talk about choosing wisely to reduce harm and the unnecessary use of money. So we've already eliminated some indications, and there's some drugs that have a really bad reputation now through Kinderformularium, and we're really going to try and measure impact more at the patient outcome level, not only the process level, but also what is the frequency of adverse events, and how severe are they, and can we learn? So it's a learning system. So we started in my career, in my lifetime. There was an unmet need, there was a threat, we needed to do something, and now we can speak of general adoption in the Netherlands, just general contribution, and endorsement and use. Again, I think, I spoke with Matthijs de Hoog, and we were the co-directors. We're handing over this year to Saskia de Wild, new director from Erasmus in Rotterdam, and also thanking Tjitske van der Zande, and she says, stakeholder involvement, number one. Don't start anything anywhere without having everybody in the same boat. Yes, you need leadership, you need champions, you need collaboration, people who want to give away, not selfish, not about me, it's about all of us. And yes, go find the funding, think about sustainability, but start it, and then, other people will see it, and they will want to be involved, and they will put even more money in than the starting funding. So, and the Dutch are going to sustain this with around 250K euros per year, which is around about 300,000 Canadian, I guess. We felt it was a ridiculously small investment and a huge return. Thank you so much.